Hello everyone. 5:07, 5:08 p.m. Everyone is probably still at work or just commuting back home, finishing up whatever you have to finish from your day. And I'm jumping in here to talk about a very important topic. Right? Recently, I have noticed so many people don't know how to make a decision. Right? They are indecisive. And they don't know, they say, I don't have a support system within me. I don't have that resource or foundation by which I have to make any important decision. Well, I want to give you another system, how to make an important decision in your life, right? There are many tactics and techniques, but recently I have been reading, and I just finished the book, which is called 5 Regrets of the Dying People. If you have extra 20 hours for the audiobook, please do that. If you are able to read it, in a paperback, please do that. It's a long book, lots of explanations. I'm going to wrap it up for you in 15 minutes. Bronnie Ware is an amazing person, truly incredible writing, right? So many words from heart. And she was, as you know, maybe you know about her, please write down who know about her, who don't, who doesn't. She is a palliative care nurse, right? So technically she was sent to homes of the people who were dying. Probably a couple of weeks, maybe days or months left for that person. Retired people, even young people. I remember she was looking after the woman who was only 40. People who were with terminal illness, the horrible diagnoses, right? Where people tell you, well, you only have like 5 weeks or you only have 2-3 weeks. She was going to these homes to take care of these people. And in the meantime, when she was taking care of them, she was very interested in hearing their stories. So eventually, being at so many homes and saying goodbye and being with those people at the last days of their life, she compiled a list of regrets. The 5 regrets that she compiled, that all the regrets, right, usually came down to these 5. And today, I will tell you the 5 of them and how they can impact the most important decisions in your life. If you are so hesitant about, what to do, especially with the news right now, with all of the stress that is happening right now. I know that your subconscious mind is going crazy right now. Probably with the fear of future, fear of change, fear of the unknown, fear of, something bad happening, fear of dying, fear of life, like all of these things. You will find it very beneficial. So the first regret is, I regret that I don't have the courage, that I didn't have the courage to live the life that I want. And I lived the life that someone was expected of me. So once again, the first regret that she noticed in her clients who were dying was that they regretted that they lived the life that someone expected of them and not the life that they wanted. And it combines all of the things, the life purpose, the things that you do, the way that you, your partner that you choose, the decisions that you make every day, right? If your decision is coming from the expectations of others or from the need for approval, that's not your decision. If you are making a decision, because someone told, because that's the right thing to do. Rarely people find happiness in the things that they say, it was a right thing, that's the right thing to do. That's what society expects me to do. I know that people come to me and for different fears, phobias, panic attacks, depression, suicidal thoughts as well, right? Different relationship problems. But most of them usually tell me how stressed they are on a daily basis. That I am just so tired of keeping up with life. Keeping up with expectations, keeping up with, I'm confused what's wrong, what's right. So the biggest regret is that people lived the life that their moms wanted, their dad wanted, their partners wanted them to live, even their kids wanted them to live, right? the boss, the manager, the supervisor, the best friend, right? We look out for the external world. Maybe someone will tell me what to do. Eventually, having that is the biggest regret of your life. So in order to find out what you actually want, well, first of all, you need to know your values. What's important for you? Some people, well, family is important to me. You'll be very surprised that for many people who had a certain value, at some point in their life, it stopped to be their value. Right? It used to be the recognition from other people used to be my basic value until 33. I lived by that value. Right? I lived by that value. I want to be a good girl. Remember, good girls die fast, right? Die young. And I wanted to be a good girl, right? I wanted to make people happy. I thought that I'm going to be okay if I make other people happy, until I fell down to my knees and I realized that I'm not happy. Okay, I make people happy, but I'm not happy. Right? So I didn't live the life that I wanted. I was living the life that my mom still expected me to live, or someone else, the society, right? The way that it should have been done, right? Until I kind of broke all of those rules, and I broke my reputation in the eyes of other people. That's when you will not have a regret that you didn't follow your heart. Some people say, well, I want to be an artist, or I want to be a hairstylist, or I want to do something completely different. But I have been in this career for 25 years. Like I have 30 years, right? Or 15 years. There's nothing else I can do. I don't know what else to do. I'm not trained in. And so they keep going with the career that they don't like. Because that's the only thing they know. They believe that that's the only thing they know. And then go on and keep going, thinking and dreaming that one day, I'll find it. There will be no one day. It has to be done yesterday. So anytime you think about the loved job, the job that you love, it has to be done yesterday. That's it. So that you don't have any confusions or doubts whether to do it now or to do it in a year. It's either yesterday or never. That's an association and a metaphor. Please don't take it directly, but remember that it's now. It's now to ask yourself these questions. It doesn't mean that you have to go and quit your job. No, but ask yourself these questions. Am I actually doing what I love? Because that's the biggest regret. Oh, I wanted to change the career at 42, but I couldn't because I had all of these obligations. I had bills, I had mortgages, I had, payments to make, I had kids to raise, right? You have kids, and that's why you need to be happy. So one more time, right? People say, well, I can't because I have kids, I have to raise them, I have to go. No. Change that. You have kids. That's why you need to be happy and follow your heart. That's it. Not from excuse, take it into responsibility. Every excuse, turn it into the responsibility. And that will make it faster. The first regret Bronnie Ware noticed with her clients is that they lived the life that was expected of them, not the life that they wanted. Some people say, well, I don't want to live in this big house, or I don't want to live in this city or town, right? But I can't. I can't because it's not the time, right? Look at this world. Where is the time? I look at this world, it's like, where is the time to do what you love or to follow your heart? There's no time other than now or yesterday. If you didn't do it yesterday, it has to be done now, right? So that's the first regret. So if you are indecisive about your life purpose or career, right? Just think about this regret. As even if you change a career a couple of times, like at least 7, 15 times in your life, it's still better than to be stuck in one thing that you don't like. I had a client, amazing client, right? And he was telling me Kate, I've done so much in my life. I still kind of didn't figure out what I want to do, but I've done so much. I did this and this and this and this and this. And in each job, I learned something. So he was not happy about it, right? He was in a bit of depression. And I tell him, okay, so if you've tried so much, Like, would you like to not do all of that and to just, be stuck in one career for like 15, 20 years? They usually tell me, no, I'm so happy that I've tried so many things, because eventually I'm going to find it. Those who look, who search, will find it. So the first regret is going to help you a lot to make the decisions. Another one, again, even more, right? The second regret that Bronnie Ware found with her clients is, I wish I didn't work so hard. And here, there's a little bit of confusion that people have, right? People believe that they have to create less work. Social media will help you in that. Social media is now marketing you, work 4 hours a day, work 3 hours a day, Before you can work 3 hours a day, you need to work 13 hours a day. Hear me out, please. Don't get delusional about the promises that are made, right? Before you make a 4-hour week or the 3-day a week, you need to work 13 days in a week. That's to be more clear, right? That's the thing. So people are selling you a beautiful picture of working less. But we are not talking about this. In this regret that Bronnie Ware has identified, right? It mostly that people focused on work a lot. So when they came home at 5 o'clock, right, at 5 or 6 p.m., people, instead of switching their mind and being with their family, instead of, going on the weekends, right, and, spending time with their loved ones, right, all they did was focusing on work. They waited. I'm going to work, and then, like in summer, then the summer comes and you're like, oh, maybe a little bit more. I'm going to work a little bit more, and then I'm going to take a vacation, right? Then I'm going to just rest. And so it goes on and goes on. And this is one story from the book. If you haven't read it, I'm going to tell you that story, right? Bronnie Ware, regarding this regret, I wish I didn't work that hard. She was looking after an old man. He was about, 93 or something, right? And he was telling her that he had this bitterness and guilt and regret, right? That was kind of like causing him to feel even worse from the health condition that he had at that time. So he was telling her, like, you know what? I'll tell you a story about my life, right? And why for the last 10 years I am so bitter and I'm so angry at myself. He had a wife and they had a beautiful marriage, right? And they were living together, having kids. And then later on, when the kids just left the home, she said, like, okay, so the kids are out of the home. Now we can travel. Let's please retire because it's your time to retire, right? Let's go travel. We do have enough. We can sell this house. We can downsize, right? Or we can we don't need that much anymore, right? And he was like, you know what? Just this one deal and I'll be okay, right? And she's like, okay, if you want to work for another 6 months, that's fine. In the meantime, she was so happy. She was meeting him from work, getting so excited about all the places that they're going to go and all the, adventures that they're going to go, because they're going to go travel. They were like in their 60s or 70s, but still very, very capable of doing that. When the time came, she was like, okay, so are you leaving your job? And he's like, no. You know what? This is a very important client that we have right now. I'm going to work for another 12 months, right? Another 12 months and we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. We're going to be well off, and we can travel, right? And so she was upset, of course, but she said, okay, but let's do it, right? So the life went on, right? He was working, and she was again getting so excited that one day, in 12 months, they're going to be off very well, enjoying their lives. 3 months before she gets sick and she dies, right? 3 months before he was supposed to retire, right? And already, she dies. He so wanted to create that stability, he so wanted to, he was so afraid that it's never going to be enough, that it's not going to be enough. He was so afraid that then when she died, so in the next 10 years, he lived in huge guilt and in huge regret, right? Sometimes that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. So people, right, do not enjoy the present moment. I wish I didn't work that hard doesn't always apply to the amount of hours that you work. I work 13 hours a day and I love it, right? Sometimes I work 2 hours a day, right? And sometimes I work 16 hours a day. But I love it, right? It wasn't like that when I was 31 or 33, right? I didn't. I was waiting until Friday, clocking out, right? And definitely was coming home frustrated, not present, snapping at my kids, right? And Marco, I remember, was only 1 year old, right? Like I was snapping at my kids. My kids didn't see me happy. So it's not about the hours that you work. It's about the presence that you practice in your day. If you are working for 8 hours a day, you love your job. Switch off at 6 and spend the time on the things that are so important. Your health, your connections, your hobbies, right? That's what the regret was about. Not about creating a 2 hour a day work day and just enjoying traveling the world, Not about that. I have lots of clients who are wealthy and who are traveling a lot. But if they're not present, there's no joy or happiness still. So please think about it. If you are making a decision, should we go to the mountains? I live in Calgary, so mountains are like 1 hour drive, right? If you are thinking about going to the mountains for a day, having just a coffee, it's cheap, it doesn't cost you a lot, right? With your kids, or just going to the park. But no, you decide to still work, because that's gonna, do something, whatever you are planning to do. Then this regret is going to help you make that decision. Because the regret will be there. Like she was doing so many people and kind of saying goodbye to so many people, right, at the last minutes of their life. But she knows what she's talking about. Another regret. Right? Another regret is, I wish I did not express my feelings and emotions. Here is my expertise that comes in, right? I'm a hypnotherapist. So for me, this was very interesting to hear, because a lot of people do have the needs. They have the need for connection, for belonging, but they don't express it. They come into this chair telling me that my husband, my wife doesn't understand me. My kids don't understand me. My parents don't understand me. And then when I ask them, have you ever communicated your needs? Oh no, I'm so bad at that. No, I'm bad at that. I can't communicate my needs. I don't want to make them feel bad, or I don't want to upset them, or I don't want to discipline. So how do they know? How do people know what you want? So that's the regret that she noticed in clients, right? When the client said that I kept it all in. I never talked to my kids. I never talked to my kids and expressed how I felt, right? I never opened up and talked about myself. I never really talked to people about myself. That's the thing, right? So when people say, I've seen clients that this is a certain type of clients who were abused in childhood, right? And who have lack of trust issues, right? People will betray me, people can hurt me, completely understandable. I work with these cases, right? However, they say but I do want to connect. I do want for people to know me. I do want for my partner to know me. I'm so afraid to open up. I'm afraid to be vulnerable, but vulnerable is the courage, but they don't understand that. They believe that vulnerability, which is expressing your emotions, feelings, and needs, right? That's being vulnerable. They believe that that's the loss of control, that's where they can be hurt. Hey, you're not 5 and you're not 8. Being vulnerable at 38 is a courage, is an incredible thing. Another story. When I was making courses, right? My first courses, I rarely shared my personal experience, right? So I was talking about theory practices. But as soon as I started to share my personal experiences, the moments of my transformation, the moments of my limiting beliefs, the moments of my I was vulnerable in front of these students at the You Are Love course. If anyone have been at that course, right? I have done everything, almost everything I told. And that was the most successful course. Because when you are expressing your feelings and emotions, when you allow yourself to be you, right? To be vulnerable, to express your needs, right? Things get transformed. So if you are in a relationship right now and something is not working, or you want something but you're afraid to express it, that's going to be your biggest regret. So better do it now, right? Because we are so afraid of the consequences that when we are at our deathbed, we say, why was I so afraid of these consequences? Why was I so afraid of these outcomes? I struggled for 45 years because I was afraid of one outcome. That's what people say. I was 28. I didn't tell that girlfriend or boyfriend, right, that I loved them. Eventually we broke up, right? But at the same time, I struggled from suppressing my emotions and avoiding them for 45 years. I had those clients, right? Just because I was afraid of rejection, of being vulnerable. How silly that is. They use word language, but you know that, and we are so hard on ourselves then. So if you are indecisive, if you cannot make a decision whether to express what you need, do it. If you have a child, right? For example, you have a child and you have a fear about something happening to them or them doing something, right? Express that worry. It doesn't have to be in a worry, anxious state. But when you are calm and relaxed, going, hey, Kate, I'm really worried about what decisions you're going to make. I know it's not about you, it's about me, but I just want to express how I feel. And usually kids are very understanding, and they can even help you explain things to you. Like my daughter does that amazingly well. Whenever I express, she's like, Mom, let me get this straight, right? And the same was with your partner, the same as with your friends, the same as with your parents. You always have a chance to tell someone, right, what you need. People want to hear what you need. They need to hear that. So that's the third regret. I regret that I didn't express my feelings and emotions. Because if you express your needs, a lot of decisions are made by themselves. A lot of things are resolved without your attention even. Trust me, because everything becomes so clear. You know that any conflict is a lack of communication. Any conflict is unmet expectations. Any conflict between people is unexpressed needs. And I think, like, for example, if I sit with my husband and I don't tell him my feelings, emotions, I just sit there and I expect him to figure it out. Just figure, me for 20 years, figure it out, right? That's frustrating for a person. Why do we torture someone so much and ourselves? So tell them, even if they say, oh, I know, great. Or they say, I didn't know. Like my husband for many, many years didn't know my love language. That my love language is not gifts. My love language is not words of appreciation. My love language is acts of service. That's what I like. That's how I feel. When people bring me when people do something, right, that I don't have time to do, that's my love language, right? That's my love. When someone cooks a dinner for me, right? Best. People don't have to tell me that I'm good because I know I'm good. But I need acts of service as an expression of love, right? So if you find yourself, right, not expressing your needs or emotions, a lot of things are going to be in an indecision, in the conflict, in suppression. Watch my videos about avoiding or suppressing emotions. This is a powerful video that will tell you what price we pay for not expressing our needs. Let's go further. Another regret of the dying people. Bronnie Ware found out that the fourth regret is I wish I didn't keep contact with my parents and with my friends or, loved ones. This is a big one. This is huge. And here's what I noticed. When I immigrated to Canada almost 9 years ago, when I immigrated to Canada, I believed that I don't need anyone. I'll be so good here. I started this integration process right away. My English was good, right? We found a job. We started to hamster wheel, right? If anyone knows, Canada and North America supports the hamster wheel. We started to run, right? We stopped a lot of contacts with our good friends, even with our family. We would call here and there, right? But I was like, why do I need to see that, right? Why do I need to, I'm done, we had so much time together, right? And I lived in a duplex. So I lived with my parents in a duplex. So I remember that I spent so much time with them that I'm like, whenever I went to Canada, I was like, whew, good, right? And then as you satisfy the needs and you get so burned out from running in that hamster wheel, you understand how important it is to keep those connections with your most dearest friends. Because with them, I had that wholehearted love, right? With them, I shared a lot of moments. It doesn't mean that there are no people right here that I can do that as well. But at the same time, keeping the contact with your friends and family, right? If your family is abusive family, right? Of course, I understand you don't want to do that, right? But at the same time, I had a lot of resentment towards my parents in my healing journey. When I just started this healing journey, started that anger to come out, right? I got so triggered by my parents, right? And right now, I'm like the dearest love that I have, like an appreciation and gratitude. And I look at my childhood completely different. People believe that, I have a limiting belief. Let's talk about the rapid transformation. People say that, I have a belief that I'm not good enough, or I don't have a lack of confidence. I don't believe I'm worthy of something. All of these limiting beliefs. And they believe that it's hard to change them, that it requires such a big time to rewire your brain. Really? Well, let's take an example. When people believed that the planet was flat, it's the strongest belief. Everyone, it was like a knowledge. It's just like right now that the planet has a round shape. But for people back then, before it was invented, before it was proved that the planet has a round shape, people believed it was flat. They believed it. And in a couple of moments, when it was proved that it's round, everyone changed that belief. There was some resistance for sure, but they changed it. Because if you see the reality, you have a proof, right? You change it really quick. Remember the story about on the train, a dad with kids. If no one knows, I'll tell a little bit in a quick way. There was a dad. It's a story, right, about the changing of perspective. There was a dad with kids, and kids were running around and very loud, and screaming, right? And other passengers on the train, right, they were kind of frustrated. They were angry, frustrated, it's loud, right? It's overwhelming. They were doing whatever they wanted to do, these kids. And so one guy, he just lost his patience and he said to the dad, can you just make your kids behave? Can you just make them listen to you? And he says, I'm so sorry, but we're just coming from the funeral. Their mom died. The change of perspective happens pretty quick, right? You have now, from anger and frustration, you have a compassion. You have compassion and full understanding, isn't it? So don't tell yourself that it's hard to change your limiting belief. You just need to change the perspective. That's it. Insights and quantum leaps happen all the time. People who have gone, who quit smoking or drinking in one day. They can, but some people are quitting drinking for 20 years and they still can't. It's not about the drinking. It's about the perspective that you have and the choices that you make. That's the thing, right? So that's the force regret of the dying people, right? I wish I kept the contact with my family and friends, right? Connection is what we all want. Even people who say they don't need connection, they need connection, right? At least to themselves. Right? So that's the first one. If you are hesitant whether to call your old friend, do it, right? Because Bronnie Ware, when she was looking after these people, they felt loneliness. The biggest fear we have is the fear of loneliness. Is when we are lonely. That's what we are afraid the most, right? Like when I go to the sessions and people say, I'm alone. What is your biggest fear? That I'm going to be alone all the time. And so they come to me still feeling that fear of loneliness. So, and then when we are at our deathbed, same. We are afraid of loneliness. But not everyone has that regret. No, because people who keep contact, right, who get connections, right, they absolutely have less of that regret or even don't have that. So let's go to the fifth, right? The fifth regret of the dying people that can help you make any decision, right, is I wish, and this is one of the most powerful ones, please listen. I wish I allowed myself to be happy. Right? So I allowed myself to be happy. How many times I see the clients, they say, I have everything. Like I should be grateful for my life. Why I am not happy, right? Because we don't allow ourselves to be happy based on whatever beliefs we have from the past. But we don't, and that's the biggest regret, because people look back at their life, like 70, 80, 90 years of their life, and they're like, things were good. Things were so good. I had bread on the table, right? I had money on my bank account, right? There were money, there were no money, but eventually it doesn't even matter, right? Because I always had something to provide, right? I was taken care of. I was supported. I had that support. I had that opportunity. Why I didn't allow myself to enjoy it? Because we believe that, if I enjoy it, it's too selfish. Or we believe that if I enjoy and someone is suffering, then we have that guilt to be happy, right? When someone is suffering, I can't be happy, right? For example, if all the family, right, all the generations were suffering, and then you feel that glimpse of happiness, you're like, oh, it's a generation. I have to be loyal to my generation, to my family, right? I have to be unhappy. So that's the biggest regret that people have back then. Like, why? I do deserve to be happy, even when people around me are not. I do deserve to be happy, right? It's not selfish. A lot of people unconsciously, subconsciously connect that allowing yourself to be happy, joyful, fulfilled, right? It's selfish. And it's so selfish that I have to keep it down. I had clients who say, whatever fear or anxiety or depression, right? I was like, the role of the depression is to keep me down a little bit. So I don't go that far. Not too successful, not too wealthy, not too happy, not too joyful, right? So it keeps me down. Sometimes we create the problems in our mind to keep us more grounded. Be grounded, don't fly in the sky, don't fly in the clouds with happiness. Be down. So because we believe that it's selfish, right? Sometimes we are so wired for disappointment that we don't allow ourselves to be happy. If I'm going to be happy, then if something bad happens, the disappointment is much bigger. Right? So that's how subconscious mind works. It doesn't work the way you logically conclude. If you logically conclude that that's not true, of course, if I'm happy, I'm happy, no. The subconscious mind operates differently from your logic mind. So if your mind at some point had so many disappointment, especially in cases when kids got so excited and they were yelled at or abused or told not to have that much fun, right? So as you get very, very excited, right, it went down really fast, like abrupt, sudden, goes down by dopamine, it just drops down. Usually happens when parents yell at us or tell us something, or, you had too much fun, don't be that happy, why you're smiling, something like that. And you probably know these cases or have experienced, at least know people who have experienced this. So sometimes we prepare ourselves for bad things. in order to prepare myself for bad things happening, I shouldn't be that happy. I shouldn't be that joyful, because then the drop of the dopamine is going to be super sharp. I'm going to feel it more, right? So I'm going to be feeling a little bit down, so that when something bad happens, I'm not that surprised. So that's what subconscious mind does. So why not prepare yourself for good things? Maybe it's enough of bad things in your life. Why not prepare yourself for good things? Well, because every time a good thing happened, something bad happened right away. Right? So think about this like this. If you got excited and happy, and then something bad happened, right? You still were excited for a couple of days or months or weeks or years. Then something bad happens, for example, a loss or a grief, or whatever. And then you go again and bring yourself back to that happy place. Yeah, after each painful moment, we're not the same. We have the depth, right? We have the story, right? Our perspective changes, values change, but still, you can recreate that happiness. So let's be not happy, and then something bad happens. Because when we're not happy, the chance of something bad happening is much bigger, right? Because you attract the negativity. Right? So let's be not happy. Then bad happens, and then again not happy, and then again bad happens. At least enjoy those days when you can be happy, right? Like before expecting something bad to drop down. So that regret can help you as well make your decisions. If you are looking at your fridge right now, open your fridge. Look at that you have food. Look around. Look that you are warm right now. You are warm in a warm place, probably having your cup of tea or just sitting on the couch browsing the Instagram or watching YouTube. Appreciate what is right around you, and the universe will grant you more. Okay, so anytime you need to make a decision, should I worry? Should I get anxious? Or should I just stay present? This regret can help you. Allow yourself to be happy. Even if whatever happens in the future, you will know that you enjoyed those moments. And not waiting and anticipating. You won't be better prepared. If you're unhappy and you're down, you're not going to be better prepared for the bad things. You're not. Why are you lying to yourself? If you're down and negative and anxious and stressed, how are you going to solve the problem? If something really drops down, how are you going to make a decision? That important is if you're down, if you're negative, you're depressed and anxious. It's better to make decisions on the elevated state than on a down state. Okay, so your mind is tricking you and lying to you in so many ways, but the mind can be retrained, and your mind needs to be retrained. Otherwise, it's going to go on the programming that didn't bring you the results that you wanted. So better reprogram it so it gives you the results that you want. And these 5 regrets can help you always put it as a reminder. You need to remember about the end. Not with an anxious, I'm afraid of dying. When you follow your heart, you're not afraid of dying. Tell you this because I had a huge fear of dying. A huge fear of dying showed up in lots of panic attacks, health anxiety, fear of flying. Right? I know what it is. And at the same time, when you follow your heart, the fear of dying subsides dramatically. So remembering about the death, about the end, right? In a good way. In a way that, I better enjoy it when I have it now. So I hope that was beneficial for you. Please reshare this. If someone needs to hear this, if someone right now is in the indecision, share it, please. Because they need to hear that as well. I love you all. Be healthy, emotionally and physically.